Mohawk Valley Community College has campuses in Utica and Rome, New York. Our Utica campus is extremely diverse with more than 20 languages being spoken, with refugees and immigrants and newcomers on campus. And our open door admissions provides access to all individuals who can come to MVCC to determine their own journey and identify their own potential, pursue that potential, and identify their future for themselves, and then go pursue it. And today I'm fortunate to have time to talk with Pawsansoe Bree, who, as much as anyone, took advantage of what MVCC has to offer to define her own individual journey.
Talk with President VanWagoner.
Well, Pawsansoe Bree, welcome to Hawk Talk. It's great to see you. Just thrilled to have you here, and I'm really looking forward to our conversation. So let's go ahead and get started. And if you could let's start with just tell me where you were born and what was it like for you growing up?
So I was born in Karen State in Myanmar. It's a village, it's a very small village, and then because of conflict and war in the country, so I have to move to Thailand. So I grew up in Thailand in a refugee camp. I lived in Thailand for 13 years in a refugee camp, and then through the UNHCR resettlement program and the US government, so I get resettled in upstate New York in Utica. And I came to Utica in 2008. I was like 18, 19.
And what was it like, 13 years in a refugee camp, and what was it like for you when you first came to the United States? Utica was the first place you came, right? You came directly to Utica. And what was that like for you?
A lot of cultural shock. It's very different. I didn't speak any English at that time. When I was living in a refugee camp, it's a very isolated society. It's a very isolated community. There was no electricity, no internet, no TV or no news, so I wouldn't know what's going on outside. And I was just a kid too. And then coming in here was just all new to me. You know, the people look all different looking, food and cultures, and get to see a lot of things that I have never ever saw before in a refugee camp. So it was a lot. I was just feel like a baby reborn again, and you just like start learning everything from the beginning.
And then, so how did you find your way to MVCC, and why did you come here?
Yeah, so when I first came in Utica, they have a program called Newcomer Program. That's why I studied English for almost 2 years. And through that Newcomer Program, I think MVCC was, that time they had a summer program for refugees in Utica to just kind of like take a summer English program on the campus. So that's why I joined that English program. And then I knew right away that I want to come to this college, because that was also my goal. The reason I came to the US, I wanted to go to school, I wanted to get education, because as a refugee in Thailand, I didn't have that opportunity. I was also stateless. I didn't have any citizenship back in Thailand. So that was my goal, to continue my education. MVCC was my door and my opportunity, for sure, that I wanted to continue learn English and improve my English, and to come to MVCC. So I first joined in MVCC as the ESL program. I tested the ESL program. I got in the ESL level 3. I don't know, right now you still have ESL program or not.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So level 3, level 4, and then I joined the regular class.
Yeah. And what was it like learning English? There were no formal schooling in the refugee camp, or?
No.
So then you jump into classrooms learning English. What was that? How did you find them? What did MVCC feel like to you at that point?
At first it was challenging, because I think first we were learning a lot about speaking, but also like reading, writing, listening. So a lot of this practicing every day for, the whole year in MVCC. And it's also like try to practice in the as much we can in a formal way so that we can get ready and enroll in the class with other regular students. So it was challenging, but I think the teachers, the English teacher, all my English teacher in MVCC are very supportive and very community, and it's very nice in the classroom too. It's not just me who struggle with English, it's the other ESL students. We kind of support each other. English is not our first language. We all speak different languages in the same room. It was also nice to see everyone trying together, and then the teachers there helping us support all the time. So it was really like a community, a small family ESL program. So it was nice. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So then what was the transition like for you to move from that nice close-knit ESL classroom program to then venture into complete that program, ESL certificate, and then move into a college degree program here at MVCC? How did you know what you wanted to study, and how did you navigate that at MVCC?
So part of it is the ESL teacher there, and also there is a tutor learning center or something that we always see people there and they talk and try to meet more people on the campus, not just the bubble ESL groups only. And so that's also like kind of slowly kind of integrate into the whole campus, and then like started meeting professors. So mostly my English teacher in ESL tried to kind of introduce me to this professor is political science, are you going to be interested in this? Or, this professor is geology class, you're interested in this and that. So it's kind of like slowly, and then joining clubs, meeting more people like regular students, not just ESL students, and participate. I was very involved, and, a lot of volunteers. I joined like Phi Theta Kappa,
yes. The honor society,
yeah, and all of that too. So it was in a way that kind of like not really moving to a completely different campus, but it's just a bigger space and a bigger opportunity within the same campus. So in a way that it was a very carry and neutral and very like gentle process or walk, not just myself, but people around me and the community around me can help support that.
So you got a 2-year degree at MVCC in international studies?
Yes.
Yeah. And so looking back on your 2 years at MVCC for that degree and your 1 year with ESL, what was what was your favorite part of attending MVCC?
I think the community and the people was always be my favorite part. I was very involved. I knew a lot of people. I knew who I want to hang out with. I knew my professor. I like to spend time with my teacher, my professor a lot. After class or, the teacher or professor would have like office hours that I would always go and sit down and talk to them. Few professors that I was very close to that will always seek for their advice and their mentorship, and that would be my favorite part of it. In some way they help support and really listened and really guide me to what I want in it. So I never once changed my major once in MVCC. I knew what I want and I followed that, and I just continue doing that. And in that way, I think it's the professor who guide me and support me. It's just kind of ask me a lot of questions, kind of help me figure out who I was in that time and what I wanted to do in my life and all of that. And so, yeah, that's definitely my favorite part, is the supported network and the community and the people here.
Great. And then while you were at MVCC, I understand, I remember, and I think this was when you were at MVCC, you spoke at the High Commission on Refugees for the United Nations in New York City. Tell me how that came to be, and what was that like? What did you say?
Yeah, that was about the youth migrants and, youth who are around the globe who moving it was a migrant issue, but it's focused on youth. And that's why I went there to speak about refugees and youth opportunities within Utica and upstate New York, but also within the US, where a lot of refugees and migrants are still struggling to figure out who they are and what they want. But this is who they are and their story, being a migrants and move across the countries and try to figure out who they are, and their voices need to be heard and need attention to for others to hear and support and all of that. So that was about what I was speaking about, and I talk about like the newcomer program, which I was involved a lot and bringing a lot of Mvcc students and American students to connect it with migrants and refugees youth within Utica to have that connection and that understanding and that supportive network to kind of work together and build a good society for everybody, not just our own or one individual divided like that, but it's united together. So that was really bringing youth together and networking and yeah, that's what I speak.
How did you get the microphone? Did you just go to the United Nations and stand there until they let you speak, or did you just sign a sheet and say I want to talk, or did somebody find a way and open a door, or
somebody found me? Somebody found, because I was also very active in Utica in general, in Utica City.
Okay.
That I was very active in the youth movement, especially migrants and refugees. And I was speaking in a lot of human rights events and unspoken events, like activities across Utica that I would join a lot of human rights events and share the story of the struggle of refugees and migrants. I think someone found my stories and
then so then you go through the ESL and you in a short time, 1 year, you learn English and you move into credit-bearing classes in your degree program.
Yeah.
You get involved in clubs and organizations at the college, do great work to get in your classrooms that give you a high GPA to get in membership into the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society.
Yeah.
And then you apply for the Jack Kent Cook Scholarship,
Yes.
which is a national scholarship for community college students who want to transfer to a four-year college and even go to graduate school. That there are a couple of thousand applicants a year, and they only award around 50 to 60 a year. And to this day, you remain the only Mvcc student who's ever won the Jack Kent Cook Scholarship. What was that like, and what did you do with the scholarship?
So after I got a scholarship, I continued my education. So I did my bachelor degree in Harvard College. And I picked this college because it's close to home. It's still close to Utica, and it's still close to Mvcc. And Mvcc is really like a home to me. Somehow I always draw to come back here. I want to come back to this community all the time. So that was how it was my choice. And also in a way, they also have a good study abroad program and JTEL program that have a lot of options of country where I can go. So I decided to choose Harvard to do international relations too. And they didn't have that program. So I was pretty much doing independent and create my own major and my own program during my time there. I think right now they probably have the program. And so that was really a good opportunity for me to learn and grow and figure it out what next in my story or my journey. And so I also did a study abroad program through Harvard. I went to maybe like 9 countries during my time in Harvard.
9
2 years.
countries.
Yeah. So it was, I love traveling. I love, going around the world and see what beyond my own communities and my own home. So it was really a good fit campus for me, even though I wasn't really like in the beginning. I thought I wanted to go to American University in DC. I want to go like bigger campus, but in the end, I just chose a small campus, and I like their study abroad program, and the class is very small, and I like that really close net of community and people. So I stay in that campus, and until I finished my school there, and then I got another Jack Kent Cook scholarship for my graduate program.
Because you did so well at Hartwick, you got more Jack Kent Cook scholarships.
So I feel like Jack Kent Cook, when you become part of their community, you're always going to be the community. They will always look out for you and asking how you're doing, what you want to do. And that's also Jack Kent Cook in a way very similar to Mvcc, that they will always reach out, they will always support that network of the Cook scholars. So when I graduated, Jack and Co contact and asking if I want to continue my master program or higher education. I said yes, I want to continue my master programs, and I was looking at all different programs and what I wanted to do, and then the reason I picked international relations is I thought at that time as a student I thought I wanted it to go into like diplomacy and doing like work mostly like in the diplomacy area. So I want to do like international program of 5 countries, mostly going to be in Europe, and I'm going to be in like all these headquarters of like UN or big like INGOs and all of this, like London and Geneva and Leiden, like all of these big city with like big NGOs and international organizations and stuff. So which is what I did. We went, because of my master program, I get to connect and meet a lot of people. I connect with a lot of these international organizations and learn a lot about it. So that's where I went on with Jack and Co scholarships and finished my graduates, my master program. Sorry.
Yeah. Good. And then where did that take you? What did you do after your master's?
So
completed?
When I was doing my master program, I realized it's like how international relations can be very far from local community or people who are doing development on the grounds. And it's kind of made me like curious, like, okay, what's happening on the ground when I'm always, most of the time in my undergrad was always in a big table, talk about and debate issues globally all the time, but we never been actually in the field and understand what's happening. So then a professor at my master program was also like, maybe you should join Peace Corps and see what it's like to be on the ground and, to really connect it to the communities and the people to live like the community. And so that's where I started, like, apply for Peace Corps program in Morocco. Yeah.
And how long were you in the Peace Corps?
For 2 years. Peace Corps is supposed to be for 2 years for the full program, and another 3 months for trainings. And language.
And then, so you finished the Peace Corps, and then where did your journey take you from there?
So after I finished my Peace Corps programs in Morocco, lived there for 2 years. Then I decided, living in Morocco, I like that I live in a completely, totally culture and language and people. Everything is so opposite from, my culture, so how I grew up or what I see things. So I like that challenge. I like that uncomfortable space so that I get, to learn and growth. But I was also the whole time 2 years working with community development and people in the community. I had a lot of challenging with languages. I mean, I had to learn and speak a little bit Arabic, so I did speak and communicate Arabic, but not like fluent. I cannot really deliver a message or projects or everything in native Arabic language. So I was just, during my time there, also kind of like made me think that, okay, what if I go back to my origin country or country where I speak the language, I understand the culture, how much more I can do for the people and the communities. So that's brought me back to Thailand. This is where, I was born in Myanmar and I grew up in Thailand in a refugee camp. But this time I will go back as an American citizen. I will have a citizenship. I will live a completely different life from what I used to live as a refugee in a refugee camp. So that's what brought me back to Thailand.
And what work do you do in Thailand now?
So now I'm working for an international NGO. It's called Partners Asia. And it's a nonprofit organization that registered in California, but they do all the work in Thailand and Myanmar along the borders. And basically they are a donor organization that give grants and money to local communities, directly to local leaders and local community along the borders in Thailand and Myanmar. And but we also give like technical supports and networking and all the other stuff, but mainly funding. And so my role and my job is as a grant manager, or also like partnerships management. So I'm pretty much kind of like the bridge for local communities and my organization, which is a Western organization who also want to do good and try to do development work in the local areas. And so most of my job is, because this organization is very small, and so we don't have an actual office. I don't go to actual office. My office is pretty much the community and the people. I will visit them once a week. I will always go to new communities and visit them and learn about their project, understand about their project, and help them with their report, proposal writing, grant writing, all of this stuff. And then kind of also come back to my organization and telling the story of the locals, people that we work with. So a lot of local people we work with are refugees, migrants, stateless, undocumented, and all of these people along the borders, which is very similar to community how I grew up with. And we work with a lot of ethnic minorities, a lot of different ethnic groups along time.
So you help the NGO leverage their money and invest their money and make sure the money is getting spent well and making a difference to fulfill their mission.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. To hear you say, I left the ESL program and I branched out a little bit to go to the credit classes because it was a little bigger of a circle. And then you have enlarged your circle across the globe over the last 10 years to see that come to play. So if you can filter through all of those amazing memories you built for yourself on this fantastic journey to come back to MVCC, if you look back at your time here, and I feel so fortunate to have you sitting here with us today, that you happen to be in town and this works out great. What is there a memory that sticks out for you that of your time here at MVCC?
A lot. So I will have to pick a few. Like I said, that professor and teachers are the main keys that really stay with me wherever I go. I still in touch with many of them. I still email them, still connect through Facebook or other social media platforms. So that's connection, that relationship's always there. And a lot of friends and community I found here also. We still friends, we still connected. This is really a place where I found many of my lifetime friends and community who not just one time, one moment, but always there. Whether even we not really communicate all the time or regularly, but I think the bond and the connection was so strong that when we meet, it just connect back like special, in a very special way. So that, and then also a lot of classes that I really, because I didn't learn anything about human right or human right law until I was in a class in MVCC. So that was the first time I learned about human rights, human right law, and that was kind of like major change in my life, that I want to go into this field. I want to study this, international human rights and human right law and all of this stuff, and the issue of international development and all of this that was also all start in MVCC, where my course in comparative political science, and then we look into all different kind of human rights issue across the global with actually Professor Cass class. And then was also like, there's another course I was joining, the geology class, the field class where we went to Colorado, and we went to a few states. That was also my first time actually go around different states within the US.
Oh, with Professor Williams, and you went out, or Geary at the time.
Yes.
Lindsay Geary, out to Colorado. I didn't realize you were on one of those trips.
There,
oh my
and
goodness.
I really enjoyed that traveling, the spirit of traveling and meet people and the food and the culture.
So, Paw, if you can, tell me what does MVCC mean to you?
MVCC mean community, it's me home, it's me people, and it's me really not just people, but differences and diverse of people coming together and connect and work together as a big giant family, but as a community. And that's how I feel the whole time. Anyway, I still feel right now and every day and still talk about MVCC all the time wherever I go. And I always encourage everyone that community college is the best place to start your journeys. And there's so much opportunities, scholarships and network and people. And it's a great start to figure out what do you want to do and who you want to be And it's a perfect space because everyone is just confused and, but everyone is just supportive of each other. And it's not just like a too big of campus, so then everyone's still going to know each other so easily. So that's something that MVCC mean to me. This like that connection, that closeness, this community.
Very good. When you said you share your pictures and stay in touch with faculty and staff here, and when you're during your master's program, when you're traveling around the world in all these different countries, those pictures on Facebook, folks would share them and look what Pa's up to now.
Yeah.
And so yes, we've been watching your journey all along, and
thank you.
Pa, I'm just so grateful that you were able to join us today and share your individual, inspirational, and unique journey to MVCC, through MVCC, and around the globe. So thanks so much for joining us here on the Hawk Talk podcast.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Hawk Talk with President VanWagoner.